Alright, let's dive into the fascinating world of yawning and explore some of the physiological theories behind it. It's a common belief that yawning is our body's way of getting more oxygen or expelling excess carbon dioxide. But is that really the case? Let's find out. Yawning is an involuntary reflex, typically involving a wide opening of the mouth, accompanied by a deep inhalation of air. This process is thought to play a role in maintaining homeostasis, which is the body's way of keeping everything in balance. One theory suggests that yawning helps regulate the levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide in our bloodstream. According to this theory, when the levels of oxygen in our blood decrease, our brain sends a signal to trigger a yawn. This deep inhalation then replenishes the oxygen levels, while simultaneously expelling excess carbon dioxide. However, this theory has been challenged by various studies, which have found no significant changes in oxygen or carbon dioxide levels in people who yawn frequently. Another physiological explanation for yawning is that it helps stretch and lubricate our lungs. As we yawn, we take in a large amount of air, which inflates the alveoli, the tiny air sacs in our lungs. This stretching and lubrication might help prevent the alveoli from collapsing, ensuring efficient gas exchange in the lungs. So, while the exact role of yawning in maintaining homeostasis is still up for debate, it's clear that it serves some important physiological functions. In the next section, we'll explore another fascinating theory, the brain cooling hypothesis. Stay tuned. Now that we've discussed the physiological theories behind yawning, let's move on to another intriguing hypothesis, brain cooling. This idea suggests that yawning serves a purpose beyond just oxygen intake and stretching our lungs. It might actually help regulate the temperature of our brains, ultimately improving cognitive function. You might be wondering, why would our brains need cooling? Well, our brains are constantly working, using up a lot of energy and generating heat in the process. It's important to maintain an optimal temperature for the brain to function efficiently. If it gets too hot, our cognitive abilities could be negatively affected. So, how does yawning come into play? The brain cooling hypothesis suggests that when we yawn, we take in a large volume of cool air, which then circulates around the nasal and oral cavities. This process helps dissipate the heat generated by our brains, cooling them down and maintaining a stable temperature. Additionally, the act of yawning involves stretching the muscles in our face and neck, which can increase blood flow and circulation. This, in turn, helps remove excess heat from the brain, further contributing to the cooling effect. And some research supports this hypothesis, showing that people tend to yawn more frequently in cooler environments, as the temperature difference between the air and our bodies is greater, leading to a more effective cooling mechanism. However, it's worth noting that more research is needed to fully understand the connection between yawning and brain cooling. In the next section, we'll delve into the fascinating social aspects of yawning, including its potential role in communication and empathy. Don't go anywhere! Moving on from the physiological and brain cooling theories, let's examine the social aspects of yawning. Have you ever noticed that yawning seems to be contagious? You see someone yawn, and it makes you want to yawn too. This phenomenon has led researchers to investigate the potential role of yawning as a form of communication or even empathy within groups. One theory suggests that yawning might serve as a nonverbal signal to communicate certain states or emotions such as fatigue, boredom, or even stress. In this sense, yawning could be a subtle way of telling others that we need a break, a change of pace, or perhaps even a moment of comfort and support. Another interesting aspect of yawning is its potential connection to empathy. Studies have shown that contagious yawning is more likely to occur among individuals who share close social bonds, such as friends and family members. This suggests that yawning might be a way for us to mirror the emotions and physiological states of those close to us, allowing us to better understand and empathize with their experiences. Furthermore, research has found that contagious yawning is not limited to humans. It also occurs in some animals, such as chimpanzees and dogs. This indicates that the social aspects of yawning might extend beyond our own species, hinting at a more universal form of communication and empathy. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at the phenomenon of contagious yawning and the possible underlying neuromechanisms that make it so, well, contagious. Stay tuned. Now that we've touched upon the social aspects of yawning, let's dive deeper into the phenomenon of contagious yawning. As we mentioned earlier, seeing someone else yawn often triggers an irresistible urge to yawn ourselves. But what exactly is going on in our brains that makes yawning so contagious? A possible explanation lies in the existence of mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are a type of brain cell that fires both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. In other words, these neurons help us mimic and understand the actions and emotions of others, which is thought to play a crucial role in empathy and social bonding. So, when we see someone else yawn, our mirror neurons may be activated, leading us to mirror the action by yawning ourselves. This concept of contagious yawning has been supported by numerous studies, showing that the phenomenon is more likely to occur among individuals who have a higher level of empathy. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, studies have also shed light on the neural mechanisms behind contagious yawning. These studies have identified specific brain regions, such as the posterior cingulate cortex and the precuneus, that show increased activity when we witness someone else yawn. These areas are associated with self-processing, empathy, and social cognition, further supporting the idea that contagious yawning may be linked to our ability to empathize with others. In our final section, we'll explore the evolutionary perspective of yawning and try to understand its possible adaptive benefits across various species. Keep watching. As we wrap up our exploration of yawning, let's delve into the evolutionary perspective and try to understand why this seemingly simple action has persisted across various species. From an evolutionary standpoint, behaviors that have been conserved throughout time usually offer some sort of adaptive benefit, which means they confer an advantage in terms of survival and reproduction. One possible adaptive benefit of yawning is related to its aforementioned role in brain cooling. As we discussed earlier, yawning helps regulate the temperature of the brain, which is crucial for optimal cognitive function. From an evolutionary perspective, maintaining a well-functioning brain is essential for survival, as it allows individuals to make better decisions, solve problems, and adapt to their environment. Another potential advantage of yawning lies in its social aspects. As we've seen, yawning may serve as a form of communication or empathy within groups. In social species such as humans and many primates, strong social bonds are crucial for survival and reproductive success. Contagious yawning could have evolved as a way to promote group cohesion, empathy, and even synchronization of activities, such as resting or sleeping. It's also worth noting that yawning is not limited to mammals. It has been observed in other groups of animals, like birds and reptiles. This suggests that yawning may have deep evolutionary roots, and that its adaptive benefits might extend beyond the specific functions we've discussed. In conclusion, while the exact reasons and mechanisms behind yawning remain a topic of ongoing research, it's clear that this seemingly simple reflex holds a wealth of fascinating insights into our physiology, social interactions, and evolutionary history. So the next time you yawn, take a moment to appreciate the complex and intriguing story behind this common yet mysterious behavior.